Well, my name is Robert Alexander Steele, but I'm known as Bob Steele, and very seldom the Alexander comes into play. And I was born on March 31st, 1931 in Calgary in the General Hospital, which they've since blown down, but that was it. I went to school in Calgary and graduated from Crescent Heights High School. And after that, I went to Mount Royal College, took the first year of petroleum engineering. And it didn't agree with me, and I didn't agree with it, because I was always a guy that was interested in construction. So I ended up going to SAIT and enrolled in building construction technology at SAIT, spent 2 years there. And after that, I went out into the workforce. But one of the things was I worked at Kananaskis on the barrier dam in Kananaskis in 1946, and that was as a laborer, you know, when I was going to high school, whatever. And that's what got me interested in construction. And from there, I went on, and every summer that when I was going to school, I always worked in construction. At one time I was running a cement crew and whatever, so that's what sort of got me into the construction business, and that was sort of up from there. Yeah.
Excellent.
Both my parents were originally from Manitoba, and they actually met and were married in Winnipeg. And my father worked for a company in Winnipeg called Acklands. And I think it was probably around 1926, they transferred him to Calgary, where they had opened a branch. And so that was how they ended up in Calgary. 1950, the Alberta government came up with I don't know, my dad saw it somewhere, a notice that there was property that was going to become available on a lease basis just outside of the Banff Park gates. And so my dad and I came up to look at it, and they had it laid out, and they showed the number of lots and where they were and whatever. And you would put your name in, and they would make a draw. And so my dad and I looked, and we picked 3 choices, and number 1 being the lot that we got. So we were very fortunate in that way. And the government of Alberta proposed that people could build summer cottages there, and they would lease the lots out for $50 a year. And so in some of the paper that I have there was a copy from the provincial government saying, here's your lease agreement for so on at $50, yeah. Nobody had too much money, so we weren't going to build a great big place. And yes, we did design it. It was only 20 by 24, and it was just basically, in our family, it was more of a ski cottage than it was a summer cottage. And so I was a skier, and I was on the high school ski team and used to ski at Norquay all the time. And so it was my desire really to get a place up here. And my parents both loved Banff, and they used to like to come up there, and so they took the opportunity to build, I guess you'd call it a summer cottage or a winter cottage, and just basic, as I say, 20 by 24, that was it. Yeah, and it has since been added on many times, yeah. Yeah, my dad, of course I was more involved in construction than he was, and because my grandfather was a contractor, used to build barns and things like that, we all had a general knowledge of construction. And so basically, my dad was the boss. I was 20 years old, so he gave me the chores to do, mixing the cement and stuff like that. And so it was a combined effort, the two of us did. And in that one picture, there's my dad and I both together. And so it was a joint effort, yeah. It was every weekend until we got the thing closed in. And of course then we started to come up. My mother and dad used to come up quite often in the summertime, and I would come up ski time. That was, so it was a weekend. We never really ever lived there permanently until 1987, just when I went to work at the Banff Springs Hotel looking after the construction.